Hello and welcome. This is Cece from WellBuilt Solutions, and today we're talking about a position management pipeline custom report. Here's how you're going to make it. Go into Workday and type in Create Custom Report. Then you're going to choose the data source of all positions. Admittedly, there are quite a few data sources that connect to the position management business object, and there's also even other business objects that you could use to access position, but this one is my favorite one. It's the most well-rounded and all-encompassing from my experience, and so I like to use this one as a starting point. Using that data source, again, will connect you to the position management primary business object, and the goal of this report is to show positions and how they change along the pipeline for how you hire into them and how workers may leave them. So the first thing we do is create an evaluate expression band calculated field. We have a lot of screenshots and details in our newsletter regarding this evaluate expression band, so I recommend going through the steps there, but I'll also show you that here in the video. We're going to pull this calc field into our group by field. And then rather than show all this nomenclature, I like to do a label override so that the end user has a more friendly understanding of what this is. So I've titled it Position Staffing Pipeline. And then rather than sort our data by a row total descending, which will be the default, I adjusted it to be the sequence defined in the field values group. This allows me to put in the results in the order that makes sense to me. So the results that we'll be using in this calculated field are open position. So that's you're either adding that new headcount or you're doing a backfill, but it's open. So you're probably actively recruiting for it. The second one is future hires, or a accepted not started, or future fill. Those are three different names that you could use for that status, but the idea is that it's still an open position, but you have somebody who's committed, who's accepted an offer, and will be starting at a future date. So you're likely no longer recruiting as heavily for that position. The next group is your current employees who are sitting in a position. This would now be considered a filled position. And then the last one would be an employee that's sitting in a position, but they have a future leave date. They have a future termination date. So they'll be exiting that position at some point in time. When we create this sequence defined in field values group, I like to put the results in that exact order. So if we open this in a new tab, it would look something like this. This is the name that I gave this sequence defined field group, staffing pipeline. You can see it corresponds to our evaluate expression band calculated field. And when you scroll down here, you can access these by going to all and clicking through these return values. We'll go and look at the evaluate expression band shortly, but I'd like to put it in this exact position so we can understand chronologically the life cycle of a position, and we'll order it that way. Scrolling down, there's not much else in this custom report, I'll be honest with you. That is the heaviest lift. Down here we have count, and I've done a label override of positions so that we know exactly what we're counting when we're in this report. No other fancy tricks here. Scrolling up, the last thing I've done is go to the Output tab, and I swapped out the output type for a chart and table, and then when you expand the chart options, I selected column stacked and a row grouping and metric 1. So we'll be sorting positions by those values we just described. Open, future fill, current employee, future leaver. All right, let's take a peek at this calculated field. In an evaluate expression band, it's really an if-then statement. So if this criteria is true, then assign this value. And it's going to work from top to bottom. So Workday will evaluate this first line item. Is there a future fill in an open position? If so, then I'm going to assign future fill. If that is not true, if that comes back false, it'll move on to the second line item. Future term on a filled position. If that's true, then it will assign future leaver. If neither of these are true, it'll move on to the third one and so forth. If it's gone through all the line items of logic and nothing came back true, it's going to assign the default value of current employees in this case. All right, and that's all there is to this custom report. Pretty simple. You can go ahead and run this and you'll be able to see the count of your positions along the position pipeline. Good luck.